Hello everybody, welcome back to Road to Master. I hope you're all having an amazing day. We're starting off with the black pieces against a 1942 from Venezuela. Venezuela, that's wrong. Venezuela. Norwegian rap, sure, why not? I said I was, and I am going to go to the modern straight up, but I can't be bothered to look at theory. So we're sticking with this for now because I know at least some amount of basic theory. We have the knight c3 line again. People seem to be afraid of pushing e5, which doesn't make sense because e5 is just fine. In fact, it's probably the best move. You just get space. And yeah, there are a few tricks and all that, but is not bad. You know, like the tricks are only there if you fall for them, I guess. But I guess that makes sense for it. I don't know what I'm on about. It's been a long week. It's been a very, very long week. So what they're taking their time deciding what to do here. Obviously, the move is e5, which they go for. Surprise! I'm a fortune teller. If only I could actually tell fortunes. I don't know what I'm talking about. I really don't. I've lost the plot. What are they going to do? I really fancy playing 92, to be honest. Which is the computer move, by the way. I think there we go. F5. Oh, no. F6 is the move. Which is basically just to give you the G5 square, right? You can contest the center as well, but that is less important. They decide to go knight to E2. Have I got sound on this? I don't think I do. Anyway, they decide to go knight G to E2, which is the wrong knight. And I need to figure out what I'm doing here. I probably go C5. I could probably take as well, to be honest. What is the thing to do? Takes, knight takes, c5 takes, e6. We could probably not go f5, right? We could think about g4 and then f3 takes, knight takes. But then what's the point? What's the point? You've just achieved nothing. I should know this. I really should know this. I guess we just play it like a weird French, right? I guess we just play it like a weird sort of French. Or we could leave it and just go c5 anyway. We could just go c5 anyway, which actually isn't... It sort of transposes, right? Sort of transposes. Sure. We're going c5. We're going c5. Why not? It looks okay. It looks like it could just transpose. They take... I don't know what we do. In fact, I think taking's probably fine for them, actually. We probably have to go e6. And then, like we said, just play this weakness like we usually do. At least then we're threatening c5. We can go there as well. Just hit stuff. Hit stuff, I guess. And try to make things annoying. If we get knight c6 in, we can think about d4. But then maybe knight b5 hits the pawn again. I think we might be struggling to save that. But then again, we're looking at e5 as a target, right? That is our whole plan. They could do f4 because they haven't taken this yet, so we don't have en passant. Is an option. But then they have to worry about the C pawn, right? And this knight's still here, so I can take if I have to. They're taking their time with this. They decide to take, which I think is the sensible thing to do. We can take now, even maybe. Or we could go e6. Our options, I think. Takes. Knight takes, d4 maybe, knight back, knight c6, f4, but then maybe we have bishop g4, right? Actually could work. Takes, knight takes, d4, Knight has to go back, otherwise we've got check. And then yeah, just chill with knight c6. If they go there, we take. And triple their pawns. So I think that actually could be okay. I don't know. we're going to try it because it looks interesting at least. It looks like we're limiting their space and making these pawns slightly more awkward. Because if they do commit with f4, then bishop g4 is rather annoying for them. They can kick us out with h3. But then we would just trade off and then maybe take. And again, with the pawn on the outside, bishop on the outside of this pawn chain, we're free to sort of take this, right? We're free to play e6 and take this. Because they can't push every pawn, otherwise they're not going to castle. They can't push every single pawn. Knight b5, by the way, is an impossibility because of... In fact, no, it's not, because you've got bishop, and that's supported. Ooh, maybe I underestimated that. Maybe I underestimated that. Think before you talk, Jacob. Think before you talk. Yeah, so maybe just knight c6 in that case. But that's still, like, weak. You know, that's still weak. Because we can go, like, a6. So we can't actually go queen a5. Because the knight is supported by the bishop. So we just go knight c6, I think. And calm it down a bit. Calm it down a bit. We can think about taking this once we play a6. So then the knight can no longer take this. And we don't need the knight to cover the d pawn anymore. Yeah. And where's this knight going, right? It can't go back. So where's it going? You go there. But then I can take this. And I'm happy. Maybe. So what are you doing after a6? Because I definitely get check. And then it just feels like I've got a nice position, right? It just feels like I've got a nice position. So they go knight there. Check, bishop out, there. c3 takes, bishop takes. Check. And take. I think that's just fine, right? I think that's just fine. I don't see a problem with it. b4 I can just take with the knight, right? And then win this knight if they take. I'm happy. I'm surprised this worked out this way. I'm very surprised. So yeah, I think you had to go to 92 overall. Even though it's tempting because we don't have the initial, you're actually very limited for squares once we play a6. So we've got our pawn back, and we've got them in a bit of a pickle. You know, I'd love to see castles and then like d3 with the discover check. That would be nice. There's no bishop e3. I'm hypotheticals, you know, it's hypotheticals. There's no point thinking about it just yet. Where's this bishop want to go? I want to get castled first, probably, right? And we can think even about bishop h6. Is risky, for sure. But it's not, like, crazy, you know? It's not crazy. Knight c4 isn't scaring me at all. We just go b5, right? b5's fine. This knight still can't go anywhere. Knight still can't go anywhere. I mean, where do you go? Where do you go as white? I don't know. We can... It's a possibility. I'm not saying we're doing it, but it's definitely a possibility, right? Definitely a possibility. I just want to castle. I want to castle. I want to get my rooks in the game on the C and D file. This rook would go to the C file. This rook would go to the D file. And just press them, you know? Like, ask questions, I think is the way to play this. Ask questions. We can think about knight b4 with the fork, but the knight is actually covering that quite well, to be fair. So maybe not. Maybe even a rook c1 could work. I can see that working. But then, like, bishop e6, c4, en passant, rook takes. Rook takes, queen d5. Threatening check. Not that check does much. Because you block with the queen, right? You block with the queen. I think it's fine for them. So I think rook c1's a good shout. Because realistically, when... Oh, you can't go there. Surely not. There, knight there. You can't go there. There's no way. There is no way that works. I mean, b5's asking to be played, right? It is asking to be played. The question is, do we have any legs with that? You know, do we have any legs? Bishop goes back. And then what? We could think about bishop e6 actually. Bishop e6 isn't bad. They go b3 there. c4 push isn't looking as desirable. And how else are you defending that? And we can still go b5 whenever we want and then just sit the bishop on d5. So I actually don't mind that, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. The problem is when we play b5, we sever our queen's connection to a5. Is the problem I'm facing. But after b3, then this diagonal looks really nice for our bishop. The knight goes back, potentially. But we could also just do takes. Bishop takes b5. Bishop goes back to e2, probably. Maybe not. Maybe just b5, right? Maybe just b5. b5, knight goes back. There is a potential problem of d3. Maybe queen b5, d5. Queen e2. Or maybe we just leave it. Maybe we just leave it. To be honest, I'd rather the knight here than here, right? Maybe if we go bishop g7, we've got knight takes. So, like, bishop g7. I mean, they can't castle, right? They can't castle. Queen e2 is probably the move at that point. Queen e2 stops a lot of things. d3 is... yeah, maybe just rook d8 then. Yeah, let's go bishop g7. I think we can leave this for now. It's wild, but I think it's fine. b4, we have to go queen d5, and they still have to worry about e4, which is fine. Yeah, I think b4 is fine for us. Or we just take b4 with the knight, because that's something knights can do. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Yeah, I'm not unhappy. There is ideas of, like I said, knight takes. So bishop takes, knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes. It's a bit annoying now the bishop's there, so we don't have d3. But it's not the end of the world, right? And d3 stops our check, so they're a bit safer castling. So maybe queen d5. No, queen d5, knight there, right? b5. Knight goes back. It no longer has d3, which is good for us. Knight there. Knight takes, bishop takes. Ah, and then b4. b4 wins the bishop, right? So it has to go back. And then where's it going? c4 takes en passant. Knight there. a4. a4, I just take. Knight takes. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe maybe a4's not bad. Knight there. Queen d5. Queen e2. Or maybe I just go like knight b4. Knight b4, a4 takes. No, but then that's like weak. I think we go. Oh. I think we go b5. I think we go b5. I think we go b5. Knight there. I would consider b4. Castles takes, pawn takes, queen d5. Queen d5. Rook c1. Maybe that's not the best. Maybe that's not the best. They're looking a lot more open. And we've still not castled, right? We still haven't castled. So maybe we just castle after knight b2. Castles h4. And we can think about ignoring. Because we're still limiting the knight squares if we ignore it, right? And we still have knight b4 if we really want it. And we still have bishop d5. And we still have bishop h6. So maybe we just ignore it. I mean, knight a5, right, just loses, surely. Takes. And the point is that the queen covers b4. And where's the bishop going? It's trapped, because you've got the discovered attack as well. So that's good for us, right? Unfortunately, it's not something we can pre-move, because they could always go back. And then we would just hang a knight, which wouldn't be particularly good, I will say. Not something you really ever want to do. Yeah, so they go back, which they have to do. Maybe we can think about takes. But I don't think so, right? I don't think so. h5. Castles, bishop there. It's not worth it. I think castles is just safer. Right? They have no f5. If they castle, which they do, I would like to get rid of this bishop, if possible at all. I'm struggling to see how exactly, other than bishop f5, which is not something you want to play either, you know. Because thing is, they can ignore this. And yes, we go up the bishop pair, but is it worth it? It actually could be. It actually could be. I'm going to do it. I think it's worth it. I think that gives us the bishop pair no matter what. Well, they could like go bishop e4, but then, you know, takes. What are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah, they decide to take the knight, which is probably the smart thing to do. Our d-pawn potentially weak. But we also have some legs to infiltrate, you know. We also have some legs. This c-pawn for them also a weakness. I think it's weird to think, but most, like, I'm not saying all of the time, because sometimes it's just like not true. But when you have like a weakness on the board, oftentimes your opponent has a similar one. If they play it right, I think that is as well. Or if you both play it right. But I think you've just got to make sure that yours is bigger. your threat is bigger than theirs, you know. Because yes, they can win this deep pawn, but what are they hitting it with? The queen? Not even the queen yet. They have to do the discovered. Can't ever really get the knight in. The rook, they would have to double up the queen. You go there now. I think queen c3 is fine. Threatening the knight. Then maybe we have bishop d5, queen d2. So we'll go queen c3, hit the knight. Where's the knight going? I mean, you have to just defend the knight. You can't not defend the knight. Yeah. And with queen there, I think they're opening up queen d2 problems. I would really like to have taken that, but we can't, unfortunately, because the knight and the queen both defend. So we go bishop d5. I mean, takes queen d2. Rook f2, unfortunately, does defend that. But maybe just bishop h6 is enough to make some threats. Right? We're not taking that in a million years. I want to get rid of this bishop. It's quite annoying. Actually, quite annoying. Thing is, they're threatening to take and win the pawn. And we can't let them take, so maybe just bishop d7 is the thing to do. Or we could go like rook c8. No, we can't, because takes, rook takes. So bishop d7 then is the answer. And we can still do this half threat, which is easily defendable, by the way. But if they take, we could also do... I'd probably still go with the pawn, just to limit the knight's activity. They go knight back, I'd probably go queen c5 to stick on this diagonal. And then takes, we can definitely do bishop takes. En passant, check, win the bishop. And this bishop's not doing much, which is bugging me, I think. It's annoying. And h6 is easily stopped by g3. Which is nice because it weakens their king a bit. But again, the bishop's not doing much. Maybe f6 is a play we can do in the near future. Because then takes with distracting the queen from the knight, right? So king takes. But then you've got this threat again, which is huge. Not queen there. Not queen there. Queen there. Or even bishop there. But it's the idea, right? It's the idea. Or maybe takes. Something along those lines. Something along those lines. So maybe f6 is something we need to consider. Yeah, so they go there. I think we have to go c5 and just stay on this. Maybe king h1 is valid here. And I'd consider f6. Because f6, what are you doing? If you ignore it, A, you lose a pawn. B, I get to trade off the rooks. If you take, then you're freeing up two of my pieces, sort of, which is good. And we naturally sort of defend this pawn then. They decide to go there. Now, do we take with the bishop or the pawn? Is the £1,000,000 question, right? £1,000,000 question. I think either way, the pawn's they're gonna take, right? They're gonna take. Do I have an intermezzo if they take? That's actually quite nasty. Oh, oh, that's actually significantly nasty. Oh, actually, yeah. Because bishop takes, we go d3, check. Then you go c2. Queen c1, takes queen. They go knight there, which is smart. But now we can just leave that here and go f6, right? f6, e6, we go f5. Now the knight can't get in here. And we're still threatening e5. e6, we play f5. And that not only isolates this e-pawn, but it stops the knight coming in. And opens up our bishop. So that was... You're losing control of your rook, though, you know? You're losing control of your rook. I don't mind this. I don't think I mind this. Oh, you go knight there first. That's tricky. We have to go queen b6, right? Queen b6. And we can still do this to less lethality. And we still have f5 as a move. They decide to take. F takes, do they have f5? F takes, f5 takes, pawn takes, g5. This knight's a permanent pain, right? A permanent pain. So we take the bishop, but then we've got an ugly e-pawn. No, we can take back with the queen. We can take back with the queen, right? Pawn takes f5, takes, rook takes. I don't think it's worth it. Rook takes is wild. I think we need the rook, unfortunately, to guard the a pawn, the a rook. So we have to do bishop then. We have to do bishop and then f6. No, not even f6, rook takes, right? That's what we said. Knight there, I don't think does anything, right? We can take. So either way, I think this knight probably is coming off. Probably. Oh, they decide to take, yeah. And then we have to take back with the rook. Takes, we have to take back with the queen then. But luckily the rook guards the a pawn. So I'd be considering takes, but then this e pawn might fall. Maybe rook c8. Hit their c pawn. So if takes, we do have this again. You go queen there. I can still do rook c8. Still do rook c8. f5. f5 probably take. Or even e5, right? And just ask the question, are you really going to en passant that? See, the reason I moved rook to c8 was so I have this. King there, then I have takes. And takes. So I can do that. Because I've got the tempo on the queen then. But... Queen to d8 though. D7. Queen to D7. No, but I've got rook C8. Rook C8, Queen D8. Oh. No, I've got rook D8. I've got rook D8. Yeah, that works. Takes. Queen there. Rook D8. Queen takes. Pawn takes. Our king, weak. Sure, yeah, for sure. Is it the end of the world? I think we have potential compensation with the pawn on c2, right? Oh, they go for check instead. Ah, check cuts off my rook. And there. No, that's fine. That's fine. I can go e6. E6. Queen d7, rook d8, right? Queen e7, rook f7. Bishop c4 is a nasty shock, right? Ooh. Ooh. Queen e7. No, queen e7, I just take the bishop. Because but the queen no longer covers that because of e6. And we can't go f7 because of bishop c4. Ooh. e6, queen d7, rook d8, queen e7. Oh, wow. This gets complicated. Oh, no, we can go e6, queen d7, rook c7, queen d8, rook f8. Yes, we can. Right, we can. Rook c7, rook f8. And then we're still making threats on the queen, so we have time to take the bishop. I think. That is complicated, though. And we still contain... we still defend c2 as a pawn. And threaten rook d8, right? And threaten rook d8. Yeah, so we go there. Now c7. Where's the queen going? d8 check, we go f8. And everything's covered by the queen miraculously. That's insane. Whew. Yeah, queen c6, rook takes. Or same with the bishop. Bishop, queen takes probably. That's scary. that was. I think we've defended well though. I think we defended well there. Hopefully. Anyway, hopefully, yeah. They could always pull out some crazy move, right? Some really crazy stuff happen. I don't know where they go. Like, I can't genuinely think of anything they could do to surprise me here. Because everything's covered. Everything's covered. Rook there. Takes there, right? Is brutal. Yeah, that's something they could try, but it doesn't work out. Because you move the rook away from the a file where it needs to go back in order to defend the passed pawn. That's a sneaky one, though. That is a sneaky one. Almost missed that. Almost missed that. Yeah, I think they're struggling to see things. And I would be too. I don't think there is anything. If there is and they find it, I'd be genuinely impressed. But I don't think there is anything to see. There's just nothing's loose. You know, everything's got a defender. Yeah, so they go for the check, and we just go f8, and we win the bishop. We're not winning the bishop. We lost the bishop. We taking it back. We had a load of intermezzos, right? Coming from d3. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 intermezzos before we take back the bishop. That's insane. Oh no. Too many. Too much. Is the queen trapped there? Ah. Ooh. No, same thing though, right? Rook e8. Rook e8, rook takes c1. c1, queen. And you can't go. You can't. Yeah, right. We just take. Take, c1 queen. And it's the same thing. You can't stop it. You can't stop it. If they take, yeah, and then we just go c1. Queen. And you've lost. Unfortunately, you've lost. Resigned. Yeah. Whew. Wow. That was close. That was very, very close. I think we played that well, though. I'm struggling to see any huge mistakes, I think. There'll be some minor ones for sure. But, yeah, 88.8. Apparently, we had a big loss there, actually. A big blunder. Wow. I wonder what that was. We will find out. 81.3 versus 88.8. 2050 versus 2350. Let's have a gander. Norwegian Rat. And they play knight G to E2. And I don't know what I'm doing here. Apparently the move is to take. And then I'm guessing H5 for some reason. I have no clue. I have no clue at all. C6, and you play it like a carrow, I guess. Play it like a carrow. That's been played once, and it's a win for white. So maybe not the best thing to look at. Knight takes. What's the computer suggesting? Bishop f5, c5. Yeah, so most of the ideas are playable, and you've got a few quiet moves. I don't think h5 is anything spectacular. Looking for g5, apparently. Bishop g4, sorry. Bishop g4. F3, and you've just incited a bit of a weakness, I guess. You go e6. Ooh, what? E6, yeah, I'm not sure why it suggested e6. What? Oh, bishop e6. I was so confused there. I was so confused there. Anyway, back to the actual game. We decide to go c5, which isn't the best, but not the worst either. I think it sort of transposes. D4. And they got actually the best move. I thought this would be very solid. And apparently also the best move. I guess they're relatively equal, but I don't like this because you get kicked about, like a lot. C3. And the whole point is you're challenging my center, right? I can't go a6 because you would just take, supported by the pawn, which is just losing. So you have to take. Maybe a trade of queens occurs. And you take back with a knight. And, you know, it's playable for both people. I'd say white definitely has the advantage with a bit of a center. But you could also class this as a bit of a weak, you know, overextension. So it depends what you like to play, I think. But a6 is pretty natural. The knight goes back, check, pick the pawn, you know. And you've equalized, I think, so it's time to start going. They kept moving about the knight, though, which is strange. Knight c4. Like, just keep the knight there for now. There's no stress. It's stopping some important squares. You can get the bishop over here if you need it. But, honestly, you've moved it wait, how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Before you've even castled, right? Which can't be good. Bishop g7, not ideal. Apparently this was the way to play it. I do quite like this idea of knight b2 though. to knight d3. So maybe I was a bit harsh in saying that. Bishop d3 is good, stopping my pushing idea. Then b5, yeah, knight goes back, and then castles. Apparently this knight b4 idea is correct. And you're just looking to trade off, I guess. Knight takes, yeah, and pawn takes, I guess. Yeah. Takes. And then this is a bit weak. Your bishop's struggling here, really struggling. You have to fight for that to be active. But no castling for now. Queen f3 supports bishop e3. Also attacks the pawn, rook d3. Oh, you go to trade off with the queen instead. And then, because I guess the more pieces get traded off, the weaker this pawn becomes. And this is huge, right? These 3 pawns here are huge. Nothing's hitting those. Anyway, castle. We castle. They castle. Which is sort of walking into things, but you need to castle at some point. So I'm not being too critical there. Knight b4, bishop takes, I think had to be played. a4's exactly the break I was thinking of. Queen c3. Queen to b1. It wants this, because I'm never going to take this really, because I'm just freeing up your knight. So that makes sense. And then your queen's sort of covering my infiltration on d2 as well, while also covering the bishop as well. I rearrange my bishop. Apparently h6, bishop h6 is the way to play. Hitting this pawn. The queen goes back. I thought g3 potentially playable, but a bit weak. Also not the end of the world, though, you know. Also not the end of the world. But we go back. They go back, which is smart. Yeah, I mean, you need to, right? You need to. And then seriously look for c3, because this pawn is a pain, right? This pawn is a pain. Get your king off the diagonal first. I think is important. Apparently we can infiltrate here, but that looks risky. You know, it looks cool. I don't see a benefit, you know, and there is always the risk of your queen potentially getting trapped. So we go back to stay on this diagonal with the check. Takes, bishop takes is fine, not much difference there. And we break on f6, which I think needed to happen as well, because this bishop can't do nothing for the entire game, right? It needs to be open. I like knight e4. Queen b6 is okay. Again, just staying on this diagonal. It stops them sort of wanting to play c3, because at least it looks scary, you know. Takes, bishop takes, and then rook takes. I didn't want to do e takes either time, especially not with the bishop, right? Because I thought f5 looked really good. It doesn't look nice, at least, you know. Takes is a possibility. Oh, but then f5, nice intermezzo. And you get off g8 to stop the check. That's a clever little move. That is a clever little move. Say you go, I don't know, rook c8 or something. Takes, you don't have f5 now because of takes check. So you needed to play king h8 to get off that check there. Knight takes, rook takes. Queen d1, and we go rook c8 just to support this pawn if we ever do get the check. I think we don't need it covering a6, right? So it's just to potentially support this pawn in the future if we ever get this, and they did. Pushing is not the correct response, though. You just take. Why is pushing not the best? This is the blunder here. Wow. So they just miss some checks, I think. And you do this. And then you're down a pawn, right? And you can claim maybe you win one of these back because they're a bit loose. But wow, because this just loses. Now what loses? Oh, they have just check. Missed that. I missed that. That is definitely a big blunder. That is definitely a big blunder. Wow. I didn't even consider they could do that, to be honest. And I don't think they did either. It just doesn't seem logical with your queen being under attack, right? With your queen being under attack, it doesn't seem logical, but then you have this follow-up check to get your queen out of danger and win back this rook. And you take it with the pawn, so you're cutting off the backwards defense for this pawn if the rook ever gets to c6, right? Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I can't believe we both missed that. Whew. Luckily, we played the correct things. Apparently, this is still drawn, though. Really? This is playable? What? Oh, because the bishop covers the rook, right? So you go there. Then what? Ah, rook g1 is key. No? Apparently a big blunder. Apparently a big blunder. So what's the move to play then? Because it just looks like you're... I don't know. Rook c8 check. King g7. Rook g1. No, rook g1 loses. Anytime you go rook g1, it loses because you've got rook e4. Rook e1, right? So you rook c7 check. Keeps the checks. No, the computer's saying this is just winning now. The computer's changed its mind. The computer has just changed its mind. I'm not really sure what's happening with this eval. Have we broke the computer? Rook b6. Yeah, the computer does not know what's happening. And neither do I. Rook g1. So you're rook c8. No, is that... what? Where does it tip? I don't know. I think we broke the computer. What? Yeah, so like it gets to a point where it's saying it's even and then just the best move later it's just winning. Really? Really? Because my side eval bar is saying it's winning, but my my engine moves, they're saying it's drawing. So apparently just c1 queen is enough anyway. No, that's saying it's drawing. Because queen e8. So yeah, you take the queen. Rook takes d7. This is so confusing. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. So this is saying, okay. Queen d2. Apparently a move to play, right? Rook takes. a6. I don't know. Anyway, it's pretty won from this point, right? I don't see how the computer can claim this is drawing. I genuinely don't. But anyway, that's that. We won a game. We won a game. Yay. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like if you liked. Please subscribe if you really liked. And I'll catch you guys all tomorrow. Bye-bye.